gothic stuffing. There was a large outdoor arena with aluminum bleachers that surrounded a wooden stage. The speaker stood on a plywood stage painted white. I believe it was a stump speech on a soccer field. Everyone was welcome to the event. There was a crowd. Near the front, near the stage platform, some were lined up in horrible contraptions, caged chairs for women and men. The contraptions confined them. They were somehow tied down. The chairs and the cages that surrounded them looked like they were made from the chrome tubing of hospital carts. Ropes crisscrossed and tied down their bodies. They wore white cotton gowns on a cool, wet, early spring morning. There were sloppy knots all over the chrome tubing. Every limb was restricted by knots and chrome tubing. Many of us in the crowd had family or friends sitting in those chairs who we loved, who we cared for, and we were being forced to watch their torture. It was not understood why they were the ones chosen for the chairs. Some of us helped others cope with seeing their loved ones being hurt. We talked to them, held their hands. The torture device being used was a kind of bodily harm, self-harm, self-doubt. Their hands were tied onto the chrome tubing and then dangled in front of their mouths. They stuffed their hands into their own mouths as gag device. Some of them had their hands in their mouths for so long that their hands were raw and sore. The tortured were gagging on their own hands, coughing up spit and hacking. Some of them had bloody hands. The tortured were disgusted by their sore, bloody hands, and they didn't want to put their hands back in their mouths. And sometimes the loved ones would speak up, and they would get really close to their loved one and say, "You don't have to do that." They would say it real low so the speaker on stage wouldn't hear. The loved ones would come down from the audience and whisper, "Take your hand out. You don't have to do it." They would do it anyway. They couldn't cry for being so helpless. They couldn't stop forcing their rotten hands deep into the backs of their mouths, stuffing their mouths with their hands past the knuckles. Some of them had such bloody hands from repeated stuffings, they wrapped them in white tape, and the 4 fingers were bound in tape, especially around the knuckles, because that is what dragged against their teeth, enough to cause gory bleeding.